Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Molly and I try to lighten recipes up. And in case you didn't know, even if you're not new here, I do include the recipe, every recipe that I make, and sometimes I modify, like after I make them, I eat these myself. So sometimes when we start tasting them in this family, and we're like, hey, that would maybe even be a little bit better with this ingredient, or a little more of this, a little less of this. That is included in the recipes down below. That's the final version of the recipe. A lot of times it's the same as what you're seeing, but sometimes I'll tweak a few things here and there to make it better. Egg and potato casserole. First thing we're going to use is about 2.5 cups of egg whites, 1/3 cup of fat-free evaporated milk. And to this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of whole wheat flour. This is going to help thicken it. Okay, and then I'm going to add a generous helping of pepper and a pinch of salt. Whisk together the pinch of salt and generous helping of pepper. Okay, now to this we're going to add 2 cups of just frozen hash browns, and then 1.5 cups of, I actually found frozen mixed pepper and onion already sliced up, so about 1.5 cups of that, and 2 cups of hash browns. Go ahead and add this. Okay, and then we're also going to add 1 whole package of Canadian bacon. Now, the one thing that's really good about Canadian bacon, it's more like ham, and this is 97% fat-free, almost all of it. It's only got 1.5 grams of fat per serving, only 60 calories per serving. Canadian bacon seems to be a pretty good go-to for health reasons. You know, it's much better than regular bacon. So I'm going to put in a whole pack of that. That is a 5-ounce package of Canadian bacon, and 1.5 cups of, I just happen to have asparagus. It can even be just sticks like this, because when you cut it, it'll cut it up anyway. Now you could also use broccoli. You could use cauliflower. I just happen to have a lot of asparagus left over. Main thing is you want it to just be underneath the egg mixture. Okay, and then you could really use mozzarella for this. You could use just any Colby, anything that you have on hand. I happen to have I wanted some sort of cheddar, and I just love this cheddar. If you have Whole Foods or sometimes Trader Joe's, you can find something similar. Cheddar is usually pretty high in fat and calories. So I found one that's thin sliced, but 2 of these, 2 slices, has 90 calories. So I'm going to go ahead and use 10 slices. It's the equivalent, I would say, to about a cup of cheese. And I chose slices. I'm gonna just kind of tuck some in here and there. Okay, and I've got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. I'm gonna check it after about 40 minutes. This might take an hour, but it's not a huge pan. And if you're worried about overflow, spillage, you could always put a cookie sheet underneath with some wax paper. But that you just want to do the test, kind of check the middle, make sure it's not still runny. Because once this cooks, I'm thinking anywhere from 35 minutes to an hour at 350. You want it a lower heat so that it doesn't burn. Kind of check your cheese. If you see some of the cheese start getting too dark, just kind of push it down underneath the mixture. So I will see you back here when that's done. The potato and egg casserole is done. It baked for about 45 minutes at 350. Now, if you can, I also am going to finish this off with a little bit of fresh basil that I chopped up. But this is what it looks like. And I'm going to try to get about 8 servings out of it. You want to let it cool. It's still a little bit hot, but I want to cut a piece and see how it looks. And see how the cheese kind of made it a little crunchy on top. And you can portion these up into like 8 servings and you can freeze them. So all you have to do is just take a minute to reheat and you've got you a really quick, healthy breakfast. It has a lot of vegetables in it, lots of protein. Let me try to get a piece out. The first piece is always the hardest. There we go. Make sure that you spray that before you put the egg mixture in there. But I think it looks beautiful. Remember, this has potatoes in it, asparagus, cheese. So give it a try, pair it with a little bit of fruit, and I'll see you next for lunch. Lunch today is going to be, I'm calling it a picnic bean salad because it's completely vegan, vegetarian. You could take it on the go for lunch or you could take it on a picnic. There's nothing that I like better using 100% all fresh ingredients, nothing artificial. That's what this is. And you can mix and match, and I almost look at it like a fridge clean out. It has so many little bits and bobs that it's like whatever you have in your fridge you could substitute something in. So it has 2 kinds of beans, chickpea and kidney. You could substitute your favorite beans out. Tomato, onion, cucumber, parsley, tomato, corn, and I'm putting some fresh mint, and it's going to have lemon, the zest and juice. This is just like freshness overload. I love this salad. I make salads similar to this all the time. So the first thing you're gonna put in is the 1 can of chickpeas, 1 can of kidney beans. The salad is beautiful too. You should see how vibrant the colors are. Okay, and 1 can of rinsed and drained corn. And any of these things you could, again, substitute or omit. I used sweet cherry tomatoes, about 1 cup. Now I really like onion and pepper, so this is a whole red pepper and 1/2 of an onion. You could use white, you could use red, whatever you have. And then about 1/2 of a cup of cucumber. And then tabbouleh is made up of a lot of, tabbouleh is the main, this is similar to like a tabbouleh with more vegetables. Tabbouleh has parsley, it's a parsley salad with couscous. So this is kind of, this doesn't have couscous, but you could actually even add couscous and make it like a tabbouleh on steroids. So there is I'd say there's probably about 2 cups of finely chopped parsley. And I'm going to use the zest and the juice of 1 big lemon. Now, if you're going to serve this later, I would hold off on adding the acid until you're ready to serve it. But this will probably keep in the fridge for 3 or 4 days. Okay, and then to this, 1/4 of a cup of a really good olive oil. This is from California. Just make sure it's something that you don't mind the taste of. It's extra. I'm using California extra virgin. So that's 1/4 of a cup. And then just a regular red wine vinegar. 1/4 of a cup of that as well. And then about 1/2 of a tablespoon of paprika, smoked or regular. And then just for freshness, you can omit this, but just for freshness, I am going to chiffonade. That's where you kind of roll up mint. I'm going to just chop up some mint. You could also just cut it on the board with a knife. But I have some food shears, cooking shears. So that'll just add a little freshness. And then I'm just going to mix this up. And actually this will taste better after it's chilled for a few hours. Okay, so this is the true test if your loved ones actually like the way the salad tastes. This is the salad. All right, give me your honest first opinion. Has a kick, doesn't it, from the vinegar?
Perfect.
Does it need more salt or anything? Would you recommend it to the audience?
Perfect. Yes,
Okay.
I do. It's perfect.
Thank you. This is my husband, Amar. Thank you. He's my food taster. Okay, thank you. Dinner tonight is going to be a healthy version of fish and chips. And by chips, I mean potatoes. I'm just use whatever potatoes you like. I found some organic little gold potatoes. Now, one thing, everybody loves like a one pot wonder, just one way to cook everything and just forget it. What we're going to do is give the potatoes a head start. I'm going to cook those first. The total cooking time for the fish and the potatoes is probably going to be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Depends on how hot your stove is. So what we're going to do is get the potatoes started first, and I'm going to cook them slow and low. I'm going to put it at 375 because I'm using small ones, so I don't want them to burn. So I'm going to give them a head start by about 20 minutes. Now, to the potatoes, you want to just get, preheat your oven, 375, and you want to get a baking sheet, line it with wax paper, and we're going to give these potatoes some love. So let me show you that. Okay, so for the potatoes, I've already washed these, and I'm going to leave them whole. I like the skin. I think it adds a little bit of extra fiber. So I'm just going to do a really simple, I'm going to just use my hands and kind of mix this up. I'm going to do a little bit of onion powder. A little bit of rosemary. And just kind of crush it up, kind of activates the flavor. And about 1/2 of a tablespoon of olive oil. This just helps all of the herbs and spices stick to it. And this is where you'll just get your hands dirty. Just kind of mix it up a little, use a bowl. You could even do this on the baking dish, whatever works for you. We just want to make sure all the potatoes have a little bit of love. Okay, and then just spread them out. Okay, and these are going to get a head start by about 20 minutes. and then I'll make room for the fish, and then we'll cook the fish with the potatoes the rest of the way. So while the potatoes are roasting, now we're going to get our fish ready. And this, along with the potatoes, that's about 3 pounds of potatoes. And then I have 4 fillets. You can either use tilapia or this is cod. And I tried to unthaw it. It'd be more ideal if it was completely thawed. I didn't want to take the time. I thawed it as long as I could, and now I'm hungry. So I have 1 cup of panko. That's just the Japanese breadcrumbs. It's going to give you a light, flaky texture. And one thing that really goes well with fish is dill and lemon. So that's the flavor profile we're looking at. And it'll also complement the rosemary that is with the potatoes. So what you'll want to do, I'm using some egg whites. This is going to be the bath for the fish. And I usually like to put my herbs directly in this. Sometimes I'll put some herbs in the panko as well. But this seems to kind of coat the fish or chicken if you're doing chicken this way. So I'm putting some lemon zest. And then when the fish is done, I'm going to serve it with sides of sliced lemon. So you could squirt some lemon on top of it as well. And then I'm going to put about a tablespoon of dill. You can use fresh if you want, but I just have dried. And we're having a dipping station. So you want to just, this is the biggest one. I'll probably give this one to my husband. So you want to just dip it so it's sticky. And then put it in the panko. Just coat. And that's what it's going to look like. And I wound up only using probably 3/4 of a cup of panko, and I do have a little bit of this left, so if you want to try to cut back and try different variations, you could always, you know, make a second mixture if you wanted to do about half. You could probably get by with about 1/2 of a cup of egg and your spices and 3/4 of a cup of panko. And then I'm going to add a little bit of dill. Okay, so when the potatoes are done, halfway, then I'm going to put this in, and you may need to flip it. You'll just have to see. If it starts getting too dark underneath, then you would flip it. I'll let you know if I have to do that. Now there's one more item. Now traditionally you could serve this with a nice malt vinegar. But I'm going to have options. Some people like to eat this with ketchup, some people vinegar. I also want to make a healthy version of tartar sauce. Making a healthy version of tartar sauce. So I'm going to use just a plain non-fat Greek yogurt, about 1/2 of a cup. And then just a regular dill, sliced up dill pickle. You could, if you don't have any, you could use regular pickles and chop them up. About 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to add just a little bit of the liquid. You could also just use vinegar if you're using regular pickles and you don't have even the dill pickle and the juice from the dill pickle you could also use. So So when you put the juice from here, it's kind of a vinegar base. Kind of adds the tardiness. And this actually, I mean, this actually looks like tartar sauce. So the fish and chips are done. The total cooking time was about 45 minutes. Some of the panko did fall off of the fish, but they still look like they're going to be pretty crunchy. And I've sliced up one lemon, a juicy big lemon. And then you could actually, if you wanted to, cook the lemon with this, throw it in after you've cooked. Remember, we cooked the potatoes for 20 minutes first, and then we breaded in panko the fish and then cooked that for another 20 minutes. So you could, after the first 20 minutes, throw lemon in, and it just makes them a little sweeter. I didn't do that, but I chopped up some lemon, and then when it's still hot, I would just put a little, you could even put it a little bit on the potato, but I'm just kind of putting some lemon juice, kind of give it a little extra taste. Okay, and then I'm going to plate this up. This was cod with panko, rosemary, onion powder, and olive oil, potatoes. And this should make about 4 servings. And I can't forget the homemade tartar sauce. So I'm going to start a little bit of that on the fish as well. And that is a healthy version of fish and chips. So as usual, I hope that I've inspired you with some of these lighter recipes. And I really appreciate you joining in my kitchen and having some fun. Don't forget to comment and like and let me know what you'd like to see. And I just hope that you're having a great week. And let me know what kind of wonderful recipes you're trying. So take care. Have a good week.